o'clock, so we'll get started. Just have a couple of minutes too while we just introduce BMT quickly. That'll give the other people a chance to join who have also signed in. Hi everyone, my name is Stu Smith. I'm VP of Business Development at BMT. I started at BMT over 27 years ago as a network engineer. As the company's grown, so have my roles and responsibilities to where I now help manage and grow the business. Here's today's agenda. First, we'll provide a brief overview of BMT and then get right into the demos of Autodesk's BuildingConnected and PlanGrid solutions. From Autodesk, we have Rob Monfred and Nick Raimondo joining us today. Thanks, guys. Then we'll look at the benefits of using a mobile device management solution to manage the computers, tablets, and phones you have out in the field. Next, we'll take just a minute or two to review our IT Health Check service and the importance of taking a fresh look at your IT, especially when you're considering changes. And then we'll wrap up with some Q&A, so if you could hold your questions till the end or put them in the chat if you like. And we have a special offer for the UTCA members joining us today. So BMT has over 28 years of experience providing IT services. The management team has over 25 years of experience working together. In 2016, we increased our focus on cybersecurity and have been recognized for those efforts by NJ Biz, New Jersey's leading business journal, and their readers. BMT has now been named to the MSP 500 list for 3 years and featured on the Security 100 list for 2 years. The CRN Security 100 highlights partners who can stand out in the security market and provide innovative solutions to complex IT issues. So we're proud to once again be a part of this elite group. Our service offerings include managed IT security, data and infrastructure solutions, IT support, cloud migration, and IT consulting. We are a Microsoft Silver Cloud Solutions provider, recognized by Microsoft with several competencies. Our subsidiary, Sapphire Cloud Solutions, provides backup as a service and platform as a service hosting solutions for our clients at a significant savings compared to Microsoft Azure. And finally, we strongly believe in reporting and use key performance indicators to manage our business and the service we provide. We provide reporting to our clients to back up the work that we do. So this brings us to the Autodesk's BuildingConnected and PlanGrid portion. At this time, we'll turn the presentation over to Rob and Nick of Autodesk.
Thanks, Stu. I appreciate everyone for taking the time today, as well as BMT and the UTCA for letting us present. My name is Rob Monfred, and I'm an account rep for Autodesk, joined today by my technical specialist, Nick Raimondo. We work with contractors, owners, developers, and architects all over New Jersey and New York. Autodesk is traditionally known for their design authoring tools such as CAD and Revit, but over the past 3 years, we've invested over $2 billion to expand their construction and operations footprint. Today, we just want to hone in on 2 products specifically for pre-construction and field management. We'll talk about BuildingConnected Pro for general contractors to find the right subcontractors and set custom bid invites. Think of this as the largest network of subs and like a LinkedIn for subcontractors. On the flip side, for subs, we have Bidboard Pro that helps subs win more work by tracking all of their invitations to bid in a centralized platform. After the pre-con side, we'll get into field management and talk a little bit about PlanGrid, a mobile-first field collaboration software that lets you interact with plans, issues, and tasks, along with documents, daily reports, progress photos, RFIs, and submittals. Nick and I work with a range of customers from small businesses to the port authorities and departments of transportations of the world. Our software is intuitive and powerful, yet very easy to use. I'll pass it along to Nick, but after the session, I encourage any follow-up questions and also to reach out to us as we have solutions that can surely assist in helping your current workflows.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Thanks very much. Just want to confirm before I jump in, can everybody see my screen? You can? Awesome. Great. Well, yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. Like Rob mentioned, my name's Nick, partner with Rob on the technical side of things here at Autodesk. And I'm just going to run you through some pre-construction tools we have, BuildingConnected, as well as SiteCon PlanGrid, right? My goal today is to give you a high-level overview. If you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll do our best to address them, or I'm going to save some time at the end for some questions as well. All right, so let's get going here. So from a pre-construction standpoint, right, what are the different tools that we have that we can really help to manage our bid process, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is BuildingConnected Pro. And what this is a way to allow you to manage that bidding process, right? And really make an easy way to create bid invites, send them out. It's a really easy way to message with the different subcontractors and to what Rob was talking about, the organically grown network that we have, the BuildingConnected network, which has over 1 million subcontractors and contractors today. So I'll give you a brief overview of what I'm talking about here, right? So when you log into BuildingConnected Pro, this is what you're going to see. You're basically going to see a list of all of your projects, right? And this, you're going to be able to see when those bids are due, who your clients are, and when that information is due to the client, right? At a project level, if we were to jump into one of these projects, what we can manage is the whole bidding process, right? So I can, you know, if I have a couple of bid packages that I want to manage, or if I'm the GC and I'm managing every single bid package and I'm going out to leverage the network on all of them, I can manage all those bid packages right here, right? So I've got concrete, demo, masonry. This is fully flexible and really up to you on what level of detail. One of the really nice things about this, as opposed to you know, using like Excel or something like that in an Outlook, is that you really have a real-time visibility into the subcontractors that you're inviting onto your projects. You can actually see how many you've invited, how many have viewed it, how many have told you that they're going to bid, and how many have actually bid. So this is like a dashboard with a real-time look that we can drill in a little bit further. One thing I didn't mention, I used to actually be an HVAC engineer and project manager, and an owner one time brought us on as a consultant, and they asked us to do this process, which is typically not something that would be in my scope of work. And I was using Excel, and I was trying to use a blue book to find contract, and it was an absolute nightmare. So having something like this where you can literally just look into a live network and find people is just so much easier, right? So let's show an example, right? Let's say we're doing concrete. Let's jump into this bid package. What I can do is I can click on this invite bidders button, and I can start to leverage that BuildingConnected network of over 1 million subcontractors. So for example, if I were to look for people in, you know, Wall Township, New Jersey, right? It's going to pull up a list of the subcontractors in Wall Township that perform the work of concrete, right? Or whatever bid package I was working on. You can also search by office location. Maybe I want to look for someone that's really close to the job site, right? So that when, you know, I make sure that if something needs to happen, they're close and they can get there if there's an issue. So we're leveraging a real-time network. All of these companies have profiles that are on the network, right? And it's free to create a profile. So it's just really nice because this has been organically grown over the years to become the largest network. But in the event that for some reason you're scrolling through here and you actually want to invite someone that you're used to working with, right? But they're not on the network yet, that's not a problem. You can invite bidders by leveraging the network, importing them from past lists that you have, or by emailing them directly right from here. Copy them in, it'll put a list in. You send that invite out, they'll create a free profile, and you know, the next time you look for bidders doing the same scope of work in this area, they're going to populate. I like to refer to this as a relationship management tool, because as you start to work with the subcontractors here, as they start to respond to you, the subs and the companies that respond to you more are actually going to populate more toward the top of your list the next time you look for similar filters. So it's really nice, and it really, the more you use it, actually speeds up the process of managing this, right? So as we go through, we can prefer different companies, prefer individuals at the companies. And what we're doing is we're really building that list. We go invite the project, right? The other thing we can do before we send this out is we can set up these bid forms. And these are totally custom bid forms. If you just want a lump sum, that's awesome. Just ask them for a lump sum. But if you want to ask them for much more detailed information, maybe a floor by floor breakdown of different scopes, right? Jump in and start to edit this. All of these bid forms are fully editable and templatable as well. So if you create one and you want to use that for all your projects, that's perfect. So you can see here, this is like floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, very detailed, right? Or maybe in concrete, I just want the lump sum and I want some questions around inclusions. The reason I like to tell you about this is because once you set this up, when that subcontractor responds to you, they're going to be putting it right on this bid form, right? So you're able to control the way you're getting information back, so that at the end of the day, when you have to level those bids, you're actually comparing apples to apples. And I can look at everything that my different subs came back with me on. So for example, Bradley Concrete, Cemex, Salazar, R&H Concrete, they've all responded to me, and I'm able to see their base bids and the different areas they filled in this bid form. Maybe they didn't fill in all the information, right? I can use this, have a conversation with them, turn those plug numbers on, and then start to fill in things that they didn't put in the form, right? Now I can compare their base bid to the level bid. So again, we're getting a little bit in the weeds here, but I think the key thing to understand is you're a really transparent way to compare the different bid invites coming from the different subcontractors. And it's just so much easier to manage than, at least in my experience, doing an Excel spreadsheet and managing all these different proposal forms and things like that. A question I often get asked is, what if the subcontractor doesn't respond via BuildingConnected? How do we work around that? We actually have a way where you can add the proposal on their behalf, and you can do a side-by-side of their proposal and this bid leveling sheet, and you can just quickly fill it in. So there's a lot of ways that we can leverage the tool. One of the things that's really, really nice in terms of centralizing this whole process, it's not only getting the invites out and setting up the bid forms and managing the incoming bids, but it's also about communication. Think about what you may do today with multiple emails, and maybe there's someone on your team that's running the pre-con workflow and is responsible for all those emails. You can actually have your whole communication system live here as well. So if you want to send an email out and you say, okay, I want to send an email to the entire project, or maybe I want to send an email out to everyone that said they were going to bid, but they didn't actually bid yet, right? You've got access to all that right here. Put the message in, attach a file if you need to, and fire that off. So literally everything is in this system, and it's transparent. So if your team members log in and want to see the status of this information, they can just come into the project and have a dashboard of what's going on, who's responded. All right. So at the end of the day, right, that's at a project level. One of the other really, really key things to anything on the BuildingConnected network is automatic reporting, right? Not taking the time to administratively create those reports yourself. If you need to create a quick report on your bidder list, everybody you went out to, right? Or what the current status is of those bidders. Or maybe you need to do a good faith effort report to show that you invited a certain quantity of certain types of companies. You can immediately create that report just by downloading it right inside the system. All right. So the one other thing that I didn't mention, right? As you're sending these invites out, one of the great things is you can associate all the different project files. You've got two ways to split this out: general project information that'll go out to every bid package, or scope specific bid package files. So maybe you don't want to overwhelm the subs that you're inviting, and you want to provide the landscaping subs only with the drawings that would pertain to them, or the specs that would pertain to them. You can absolutely split that out and make it really clear what scope of work you are asking for permission back from the subcontractor. All right, awesome. So I'm going to take a step back for a second, right? What I've described just now was whether you are a prime subcontractor or a GC inviting subs, what that process would look like. Now, there's a whole other side of the platform, right, for directly made for subcontractors, like we talked about. When they get these invites, right, they have a free profile on BuildingConnected, and they'll be able to see the invites come in. That's what we call our bid board. So I'm going to switch over now to show you what it would look like to manage the different bids from a subcontractor perspective. Right? One of the awesome things about bid board is it is free to create a profile. So you can absolutely, as a GC, send these information out to your subs, get it in their hands, and it's free for them. One of the great things about the pro version of Bid Board Pro is you can not only manage the bids that are coming from GCs using BuildingConnected, right? You can use this as a way to manage all of your bid invites. So you can see right here in the middle of my screen, it says track bid invites from outside BuildingConnected. Add bid invite. All you have to do is take your incoming bids and forward them to this email right here. Basically what happens, we scan it automatically, and we're going to bring those bids inside the system for you. So whether that's coming from a different software, whether that's just an email invitation, it doesn't really matter. You forward that invite in, we'll keep a copy of that invite, but we're gonna automatically fill in the name of the opportunity, the due date, the location, the client. And you can really use this now as a transparent way for your team to understand all of your office, right? A lot of the customers that Rob and I talk to that aren't utilizing something like this often struggle with transparency and duplicate work. Sometimes they have estimators that are actually working on the same project, but they don't even know it, especially with everything that's going on right now with distributed teams and not everybody necessarily being able to be in the office at the same time. This really opens up the transparency for you to see not only opportunities that are assigned to you or ones that you're following, but all the opportunities for your office, right? Maybe you have multiple offices and you're an executive and you want to really see what's going on at your company, right? You can filter down by offices and literally look at every single opportunity that your company has. All right. So as we go through the system here, there's basically 4 main buckets, right? Once we get the opportunity in, it falls in our undecided tab. And it's really straightforward. You basically just move through a workflow of understanding more about the opportunity, right? Maybe we want to jump in and look at this opportunity and see, if there's job walk dates, all this information, again, would be coming from the GC using BuildingConnected. Or if it was a forwarded invite, the forwarded invite would live right here. We never have to go back to our email to find the original invite. Everything's stored in the system now. We come in here, if there's files associated with this opportunity, I'm not sure if there are files in this one, but if the floor plans were here, if there were specs, it would live right here, right? Got access to everything I need. No more jumping between multiple different pieces to understand the information associated with this job, right? So maybe I have someone at my company that is in charge of deciding who's going to bid on something, right? Or if we're not going to bid on it. Once they review that, it's really easy. You just come in here and you say, yep, I'm going to bid on this project, or no, right? And it's going to prompt you, do you want to assign that to somebody? And then you're going to move that. If you say yes, it's going to automatically move to the accepted tab. The person that you assign, right, is going to be notified. And it's going to say, hey, you've been assigned an opportunity. Please take a look, right? You'll get a notification within the system as well. All right. At the end of the day, this is just a really nice way, like we said, to organize all your bid invites. So it's really clear the status of the invites at a high level right from this screen. I can say, all right, we have 18 bids we need to work on, right? Here are my due dates. Here's when I have the job walk. Here are my follow-up comments, right? What do I need to do with this, right? So I do my takeoffs. I start to think about my proposal. But as I'm doing that, how am I understanding the workload? Who's working on what? Right? Bidboard Pro gives you access to a calendar. You can come in here and you can just quickly see, at like a 4-week look ahead. Hopefully I've got some data in here. A 4-week look ahead of kind of what's going on. You can see some of these are populated here. So you can see undecided bids, accepted, submitted. Maybe you're tracking follow-up dates, bid due dates. This could all be populated with who's it's assigned to. So you can really quickly see, oh my gosh, Bob is swamped. He's got 4 bids that go out on the 27th, right? I've got a new bid coming in and we need to get out the door Thursday. I'm not going to assign it to Bob, right? So you can, for setting up who's going to work on things, as well as just a way for you to track what you have to do next, as well as syncing that with your Outlook calendar, your Gmail calendar, anything like that, right? So moving through the tool, we're basically moving it through that workflow. Once you've accepted the bid, you choose to actually send the bid right through the system. You don't even need to email it separately. You can actually create and submit the bid right through the system by coming into the bid form, putting your values in to the bid form, and really importantly, the ability to attach a proposal. I'm sure a lot of the customers that Rob and I talk to every day, they have proposal cover sheets that they want to, specific exclusions or inclusions that they include with the proposal. You can attach that right here and send it out. So when we take a step back, as we move through this, once we win the bid and we mark it as won, this information is going to live right here. One of the most important things, and kind of what I was speaking to in the other half of the platform, is the automated data gathering and the analytics, right? When you want to start to understand how your business is doing, you have a leaderboard of basically everything that's happening in your company. From basically, you could see the hit rates, You can see the largest win you have with the different clients. You also have analytics for your company, right, at a high level. This is that bird's eye view. What's going on in 2020? What's going on in 2021 year to date, right? And you can start to understand what your history is month to month. None of this is manual effort. As you use the tool, it automatically gets populated. And then finally, if you want a little bit more customization around some of these reports, it's super easy to just create a new report, pull in the information you want, filter it, and you're good to go. So that's kind of both halves of the pre-construction side of things. You know, there are future conversations we could have if you want to get, you know, let's say you're a prime subcontractor, you're a mechanical contractor, right? And you get an invite from a GC, but then you want to sub out some of that work, right? One thing that we can do, all of our solutions are integrated, right? So you get that bid, you say, yes, I'm going to bid on it. And what you can do is you can actually come in here and create a project directly from here. What that's going to do is that's going to create a project now on the other half of the tool. And you can start to use this to go out to your own subcontractors, get those numbers in, right? And then manage that incoming and then go back to bid board to send that linked project back to the client. So really smooth between the two sides. If you need to leverage both, you absolutely can. But that about wraps up the pre-construction side of things when we start to talk about BuildingConnected. As Rob mentioned in the beginning, there's a lot of different solutions we have here at Autodesk. One of the other things I really wanted to highlight was once you won the project, right? Once you start to need to manage that project on site and enhance collaboration between the office and the field, how can we do that, right? And we have solutions that are specifically created for that. One of them is called PlanGrid. So now I'm going to switch the conversation into more of a PlanGrid demonstration and how we take this information, push it seamlessly into PlanGrid, start to manage that, and then I'll kick it back to Stu and he can talk about how you can better manage your actual tablets, your phones, and things like that. So one of the really cool things and something that we developed as part of the system, whether you're a GC or a subcontractor, if you want to start to manage your projects in PlanGrid, you can actually push any of these jobs directly to PlanGrid. So all the floor plans, all the sheets, all the specs, all the files that are associated with this project just seamlessly pushes right into PlanGrid rather than you having to create a project from scratch, manually download all the files and upload them. As you know, there could be a lot of sheets and files associated with these jobs. So what I'm going to do now, give me a second to get my iPad here. I'm going to show you PlanGrid. So let's say we push that project over. Now I'm on my iPad, right? First thing to notice about PlanGrid is it doesn't have to be an iPad. This could be any device. It could be a Windows Surface Pro. It could be an Android phone. It's device agnostic. So any sort of device that you want to use to equip your team with real-time information, you can absolutely just download the app and you're good to go. You've got access to all of your projects, right, that you're associated with on your list here. When you get to the job site, you jump into a project, you're good to go here. All right, so in PlanGrid, one of the great things about it is how easy it is to use. You literally take a PDF, whether that's multi-page PDF or single pages, it doesn't matter. You pull it into the system, and what PlanGrid does is it's automatically going to extract those sheets for you. It's going to look at the title block of the floor plans that you have, for example, ground level equipment plan, AV100. It's going to automatically name them, and it's going to split them out for you. So the administrative time in getting this set up is very, very minimal. And you're going to have access to all your drawings on site. All right. So that's one thing. Right. So when we start to get access to this information, right, how can we quickly get to it? Obviously, I can search and I can kind of scroll through these different things. One of the cool things about PlanGrid is it actually allows you to search for information that's actually on the drawings. So if you want to look for something really specific, like a trench drain or something like that, you could type in trench drain here. And now I'm looking on the sheet for where trench drain is found. So if I zoom in, I can see trench drain is being called for by civil in that location. So it's really powerful in terms of getting access to the information that you need. If you want to quickly filter down, if you're working on a larger project, there's a lot of different sheets. How can you get to the information you need quickly? Let's just go use a tag. Let's say I want to look at an architectural plan only. Maybe I only want to look at architectural floor plans. right? You start to layer these tags on, and now I'm very quickly able to access what I need. All right. So one of the most important things about enabling your field teams with this information is what happens when there's a bulletin, what happens when there's an ASI, an RFI, something that replaces the current drawing. A lot of our customers come to us because they're spending a lot of time waiting for that information to get printed out and sent to the job site, right? Or maybe there's only one copy on the job site and everybody has to go to the same place to understand what they have to do, and then they have to go back, right? Getting a revision into the system is as simple as that same drag and drop process. You name the issuance, bulletin 5, you put a date in, and it slip sheets it automatically for you. So when I come in here, you can see in the bottom left of some of these drawings, I'm highlighting here with my finger, I've got a V2 icon. Maybe there's 10 versions of the drawing and you have a lot of changes. We store all the different changes for you in the system. So what can I do with that, right? What can I do with all of these changes? Let's jump back to that architectural. You can see there's 2 versions of it. I'm going to open this up. By default, the key, anytime I click on any drawing, it's going to take me to the latest and greatest, because we don't want you purchasing or building on any outdated information. So in this case, bulletin 1 is the latest. I'm good. I do have the ability to just flip back to the older version, and it's going to warn me. It's going to say, hey, you're looking at an old version of the sheet. Don't do anything, right? But what we can actually do is compare these sheets together. And I can see, based on that legend here in the top left, what was actually changed between the conform set and bulletin 1. It looks like they added a wall opening for a duct penetration, right? How are we going to communicate that back to the office? This is something we noticed. We could just quickly click this button, click snapshot, and we're creating an email to send back to anybody that we need to. That's just one way we can communicate. Rob mentioned a lot of different things in the beginning in terms of flagging tasks, doing daily reports, things like that. So let me quickly show you what he means by that. Let's say we wanted to get a little bit more detailed, maybe mark something up. Obviously, there's a lot of markups on this page. You can see on the right-hand side, we can cloud things, draw arrows, lines, all that good stuff. But if I actually want to document an issue that happened on site, or maybe I'm working through a punch list or something like that, and I want to track that information, it's really easy to do that too. So if I come and I'm doing my job walk, and I need to do a punch list, I come over here and I want to flag that, pulls up my task list, right? Let's say a pipe burst, and I needed to note that. We pin that to the drawing, and now I've got this flyout where I can start to fill in some information and make this item actionable. Let's assign it to somebody. I'll give it to myself, right? Maybe this was noticed today and it's due. It's something that we need to take care of quickly. I'll give it a due date of tomorrow. I'll put this on my list for all my punch list items so that later in a second, I can show you how to filter that report and get it organized. As I go through here, I can put a description. I can say, pipe burst in this location. We need to fix this ASAP. If I wanted to type that, I could. I'm just going through and I'm putting as much information as I want. I can take a picture right away of that burst pipe, or in this case, my ancient radiator, and I'm going to save it. One of the nice things about any photo that you take in PlanGrid, it's going to give you information on who took the picture, when they took the picture, and where they were. So for progress tracking and for just making sure that you're documenting what's going on, you have access to that information. All right. So that's how we would flag an issue, right? What does it look like now as we start to populate all these different issues? Flipping back to the web application, right? I've got my little dashboard of what's going on in the project, what the weather is for the job site, making sure my team's using updated information, and I can see all the different tasks and issues and RFIs that we're working on. So if I go to tasks, for example, you can see that pipe burst task that we just made is already here. And this is every single task on the project. Remember, I put that pipe burst with my punch list. I can take this and I can make it a punch list. So this is all my punch list items, whether it was a pipe burst, a water leak, cracked concrete, whatever we're dealing with, we have access to that. I can take this and break it down further. Maybe I'm walking into an OAC meeting and I want to only track open tasks that we need to work on, or maybe I need to provide this export or report to somebody for tracking purposes. I can filter this list down however I want and export that filtered list. So whether you're in the office, in the field, everything that your team is doing is going to populate in the environment because it's connected, right? So for things like daily reports, maybe filling out timesheets and things like that, we have a whole module dedicated to that. It's called field reports, right? So when you're out on site, rather than doing something with paper and clipboard, right, and filling that out, or maybe you have a separate tool dedicated to this and it's separate from your drawings and your team has to keep going back and forth between multiple different softwares. What we want you to be able to do is have one place where you can go in and track all the information that you need. So when I want to fill out my timesheet, I just come in and I can fill out a timesheet for the day. I come in here, it's automatically populated with my name, my company. The key to this is you can set this up however you want. This is literally a form that one of our customers was using that we could upload into the system to use as an example. You can literally take a form you use today and pull it in. Or if you want to build more of a digital report, you could do that right inside the tool as well. Let's say I wanted to do a daily report. You could see this looks a little bit different. And I could say, all right, I had my concrete crew on site today. It was 3 workers. They worked 8 hours. And this is the work that they performed, right? And I could start to fill this out. The key to either of these, whether it's fillable, whether it's digital, these forms are totally customizable. And it's really easy right inside the tool to change them and edit them however you want. As you go through these reports, add any photos, videos that you need, right? Just like we did with the issue. Maybe you want to link it to some of the tasks that we made and say, hey, the pipe burst issue is something that happened on site today, and I want to associate it with that. Give me one sec, I accidentally closed out. So yeah, at the end of the day, you're filling out these reports. You're able to go through, do this information live, right? Maybe you need to sign off on some of these reports, right? You have a signature field at the bottom. You go through and you're all set for the day. You save it and you hit submit here in the top right. Your project manager, whoever in your team is managing this information now, similar to our tasks, all the field reports that get submitted are going to be stored right inside the system. So in terms of communication, right, I mean, it's really centralizing the communication process and making it much quicker for your team to review information coming from the field and take any action that you need to, right? So I can look at submitted reports, maybe of timesheets only, do it at a certain date range, and I'm just quickly able to access that info. Maybe I want to export this out in an Excel spreadsheet and give to my accounting team, right? There's a lot of different things we can do. All right, so what did we talk about so far? We talked about getting sheets in the hands of our team, enhancing communication with photos, tracking issues, things like that, filling out daily reports. Obviously, if you look on the left, there's a lot of different things that PlanGrid can do. So really quickly here, I'll just touch on some other workflows, right? Documents. We don't talk about sheets. You can save any kind of document you want in the system, unlimited cloud storage for all this different information. So spec books, you know, different approved submittals, things like that. Create whatever folder structure you want, use that as a template for your job, and make it really easy for your team to access this information on site, right? You can actually come in, let's go back to our mobile device here. And let's say we're out on site and we're installing a piece of equipment, right? I can actually hyperlink the location on the sheet to a document that I've stored in the system, right? Maybe that's a piece of mechanical equipment here, fan coil unit or something. Now I've got access to that cut sheet right at my fingertips, or that IOM manual, right? If I'm an owner and I want to equip my facilities team with key shutoff valve locations and highlight that, there's a lot of different things that I can use this tool for to equip my team with the right information that they need. All right, so jumping back, I'm going to just briefly go through some of the other workflows that we can do, right? So when it comes to submittals and RFIs, obviously those are key pieces to any construction project, right? These tools are workflows that are built in the system to make it much easier for your team to track this information, rather than it being what I used to do, all the different emails on all the different projects, all in a different place. right? So you can actually come here and take a high level look at all the different submittal packages on your job. You can jump into any of these and start to see the status of the submittal. It looks like in this case, we created a submittal, we asked for the subcontractor to submit it, they did, we marked it approved, we sent it to the architect, right? We've got a nice little timeline here. We've got an audit trail of everything that's happened with the submittal. One of the really nice things about this is if you do need to mark up the submittal, if you need to add a cover sheet, if you need to add a stamp, all can be done right inside the tool. So I come right in here, I'm still inside PlanGrid. Here's my IOM manual for this air handling unit. You could tell I used to be an HVAC guy. But let's say I wanted to add a cover sheet if this wasn't here. I could just do that right here. I can pull an automatic one from PlanGrid if I want. Or if your company has one that you use every single time, we can come into here and pull in that cover sheet and just populate that right inside, put it right at the front, right? So now I've got my cover sheet. If I need to mark anything up, I've got the markup toolbar. If I want to load my stamps in here, my approval stamps, we know a lot of companies are contractually required to do that. Put your stamp on the drawing, save it, and it's going to burn those markups to the PDF and keep it there. So as you go through these workflows, the team's able to mark it up. One of the keys about this is that if I need someone to review something in PlanGrid, right? So let's say I'm a contractor and I need to send it to an architect, but they don't have PlanGrid, right? What I can actually do is I can give this to a reviewer that's either on my team in PlanGrid, or you can see at the bottom, I can give it to somebody outside the system. And it gives them a nice little landing page for them to say, yep, this is approved or rejected or whatever they need to say. So it's a really flexible way to manage this, whether or not you're on a project where everyone is using the tool or not. Very similar when it comes to RFIs, right? When we have questions about something, how do we go through that process? You can actually generate an RFI right from the field. And that's obviously a lot of questions probably stem directly from there anyway, right? So maybe I'm a landscaper or something and I have a question. I come into this and I use that hyperlink again. And rather than linking this to an IOM manual, I have a question about a pipe here. I want to create an RFI and I want to say, maybe it's a slope question around drainage. And we say, please confirm slope on this drainage pipe. Looks like we may have a conflict. Right, we're RFI right from the field. We're taking a picture if we need to, just like we did with that issue, and we're drafting that, right? And then back at the office, our project manager has access to the log of all the different RFIs that are on the project. So if I jump into one, there's a drywall installation and stud question. I can see where what the question is, where it is, and very similar to submittals. If I need to get an answer for this, I can send this out to anybody, whether they're on the team or not. An answer, they reply by email, automatically comes in through PlanGrid, and I have access to the answer. So flexible, kind of really nice way to work through this information, not really requiring everybody to use the same tool, but makes it really easy. All right, last thing I want to mention before I kick things over here to Stu is when you're done with these projects, right, you can just with literally one click export as-built information, right? So that's something we get questions from a lot. You know, people may say, you know, how do I get this information for my records at the end of the day? There's a lot of different workflows. How do I do that? You literally click download and export as-built, and you can take all the drawings, including the markups, the photos, the reports, put it in a file, and then put that wherever you need to if you want to have a copy of that information. Awesome. Well, it's about 1:40. Definitely want to leave some time for questions at the end. And for now, Stu, I'm going to kick things over to you.
You're on mute, Stu.
Thanks, Matt.
You're that guy.
Yep. $1 for the mute jar. As we've seen more of our clients embrace cloud applications like PlanGrid, you know, we see their staff start to use their own personal equipment. You know, the thinking of the project managers and supers is, why should I lug this laptop around when I can load the PlanGrid app and email on my iPad? So when your team starts using mobile devices in the field, a mobile device management or MDM solution is what you need. We use and recommend Cisco Meraki Systems Manager, which only costs $3 per device per month. The solution provides cloud-based management for configuration, diagnostics, and monitoring of the mobile devices managed by your organizations. You know, from iPhones, iPads, Android phones and tablets to Macs and PCs. You know, I'll reiterate that PlanGrid has an app for all these devices. So at its most basic level, you can use MDM for inventory and device tracking. You know, if a super misplaces a device, you can find its last reported location on a map. With Systems Manager, you can provision settings just by enrolling a device in the service. So this is really powerful. You know, as an IT guy, I really love this technology. For example, when a device is enrolled, you can have it automatically configured for email. You can have the company's wireless network settings automatically configured. If you have multiple job sites, all the site's Wi-Fi passwords can be pushed out to the device so that whenever you're on any of those sites, the device is automatically going to connect. You can have apps used by your business like PlanGrid automatically installed and business policies for the screen timeout and the locking of the device, or the pin type and length to unlock automatically configured. So, you know, many of the clients we work with go ahead and purchase cellular-enabled iPads or Android tablets for their staff, rather than continue to have them use their personal equipment. But when it comes to cell phones, some choose to allow staff to bring their own devices, citing the staff don't want to be carrying around one phone for work along with their personal phone. So that brings us to the last feature, selective security wiping. You know, this gives you the ability to remote wipe an entire device or selectively just the business apps and data. This is key in establishing a bring your own device policy for your company. With it, you can assure your staff that it is your policy to only wipe company data and not their personal data if either of you choose to part ways. And this brings us to the importance of our IT health check service. I mentioned earlier how we strongly believe in reporting. Well, our most meaningful report is our proprietary IT health check report. In it, we assess how your company's IT systems match up to our 27 plus years of established best practices. You know, to gather our findings, a senior network engineer performs an extensive audit of your systems. We then prepare a draft report and review it with your management team. And this report, the review typically takes 45 minutes to an hour, but their feedback is critical. Based on their input, we rescore the report for the final version. Our management and technical teams review the items we score on quarterly, and we're typically adding 4 to 6 items per year. So this keeps the report current and meaningful as the technology landscape changes. And it's not just our best practices. I've got some logos up here. We've incorporated regulatory defined best practices included in HIPAA, PCI DSS, and NIST compliance. And while it isn't actually a SOC report, you need an accountant for one of those. Our IT health check will help you get prepared for any type of audit. So while we score on over 200 control items, first and foremost, we've designed this report to be easy to read and understand. As you can see from the screenshot of this actual report, we provide 2 methods of scoring, category scoring up top and item scoring down below. In each case, we score critical concerns red, we score an item yellow that needs discussion or work, and many times as the result of the discussion, we agree to score the item green, which represents all clear. So with these colors, you can see at a glance, the category scoring looks much worse than the item scoring. This is because we take the lowest item score for each category. This provides insight into where your concerns are. So, you know, in this case, we can see that the 3% of critical items down here are reflected in these 4 categories up top. And I want to reiterate, this is the final score after the input of the management team. Everyone agrees these areas still present a concern. So with this knowledge, you can prioritize resources and spending on these areas to reduce the operational risk you have. It also helps you plan for your upgrades and investments to address these critical areas. So for our existing clients, the IT Health Check document serves as an ongoing scorecard and roadmap for continuous improvements. We did an anonymous survey recently and got great feedback. Over 95% of respondents highly rated the report's value and effectiveness, and we got some great testimonials too. So why might you need an IT health check? Well, we receive many referrals from clients who know someone that needs a third-party risk assessment performed. Our IT health check risk assessment report provides this deliverable and more. Why else? You know, say you've got a good IT team, their heart's in the right place, but do they have over 27 years of organizational experience designing, building, and implementing enterprise-level IT systems? So at BMT, we're proud of the fact that's what we do. We use our economy of scale to bring those enterprise solutions down to our SMB clients. You know, conversely, you may be responsible for IT at your organization and have made recommendations to the business which have not been acted on. Since our report is fact-based, it will back your recommendations and can help you get the funding you need to sleep better at night. And lastly, you can't move forward until you understand where you are. When considering a new application or initiative, will your existing information technology support the effort? Plus, we're all subject to working inside the box. Getting an outside review highlights what you don't know and may be habitually overlooking. Our IT Health Check addresses all these concerns. All right, let's wrap up. We hope you found the information and demonstrations today helpful. I want to thank Nick and Rob from Autodesk, everyone that joined us from the UTCA today. In providing IT solutions to the heavy civil and construction industries for close to 30 years, we've helped our clients' technology evolve from faxing and fax servers to email and now the cloud. We believe partnerships with industry leaders like Autodesk make BMT the best choice for your company. So if you could reach out today, we're offering 30% off our IT Health Check service to all attendees. As one of our clients said, you don't know what's unknown skeletons are in your IT closet until the IT doctor does his checkup. Finding and removing technology concerns allows you to focus on winning more contracts and other core areas of your business. And as always, any money spent on an IT health check can be applied toward future managed services with BMT, making the service completely free if you're ready for a change. So, does anybody have any questions?